بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Start.
Page 205, Hadith 1033, under chapter 474, How to Return the Greeting.
Can you just repeat plus 1032 as well, just to goes this whole chapter.
Okay.
Chapter
474, How to Return the Greeting.
Can anybody just take the echo? Oh yes. Jazakumullah.
Hadith 1032, Abdullah bin Amr said, during a journey between Mecca and Medina, while we were sitting with the Prophet ﷺ in the shade of a tree, a Bedouin, who was an example of the fullest and fiercest kind of people, came up and said, peace be upon you. And they said, and upon you.
And we said in the narrations, wa alaykum assalam. Right, this, as I said, the chapter Imam Bukhari had brought it after two chapters, which is Bab Hayyakallah wa Bab Marhaban. It's like he's saying, this is the way to return the salam. But no problem to say Hayyakallah or Marhaban after you said the salutation. And the person, he says, wa alaykum assalam, and here the person who had come is a person who is very tough, a person who is no good in his manners. And the salutation of his assalamu alaykum. So if it is the case, then the return, you don't have to exceed what is the salam in order to show that I'm not really happy with what you are. And chapters before as well, if you remember, that is assalamu ala al-fasiq, which is to say salutation upon the one who is spreading mischief and the person who's corrupt. And saying salam upon those people who are no good is masalih and mafasid, meaning whatever you think is the maslaha is there, then you do it. So if, for example, you met somebody who is smoking cigarettes and saying salutation to him, and if you think saying salutation to him would be helpful to him, then it's good. If it is in the salutation of yours, if you stop saying salam to him, and it will be better for him and for you as well, because you are as well, when you say salam upon a person who is smoking cigarettes and you've got kids with you, they might what? Accept the person being a smoker. So that is as well would soften the hearts of the kids towards the cigarettes itself. So you do really bear in mind those consequences and to balance in between them, you see which is better. So if it is better for you and him to say the salam, then you say the salam. Here, this man, he's only on his own. And he came to the Prophet ﷺ, and they were many. He said assalamu alaikum, which is obvious, peace be upon you. You here in Arabic means alaikum, all of you, because in English there is no you. It's only you, whether it's one, two, or many. But in Arabic we have alayka, alaykuma, alaykum. This is to show the Arabic languages. You master of all languages. So you can't, for example, when I say you, it could be one or two or three or many. In Arabic, one, alayka, two, alaykuma, three, alaykum, or more. So the return was wa alaykum assalam. So here, return to what? To a jama'ah, a plural. Wa alaykum assalam. So here the return was a plural, even though the person is what? Is only one. And this is going to lead us on the following hadith, which is 1033, and Abi Jamrah, he said.
1033, Abu Jamrah said, I heard Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma say, when he was greeted, and upon you, and the mercy of Allah.
Ibn Abbas, he said to a person who said assalamu alaikum, he said wa alayka wa rahmatullah. And no harm to say that. Now, no harm to say wa alayka salam wa rahmatullah, or wa alayka wa rahmatullah, because the Prophet he said it as well. Or alayka salam wa rahmatullah, or alayka wa rahmatullah. So you've got three. What is? Wa alayka salam wa rahmatullah, alayka salam, jazakallahu khayran. Now this is for the echo's gone, the headache is gone. عليك السلام ورحمة الله, وعليك السلام ورحمة الله, or وعليك ورحمة الله. So these are three options here, and all of them are to be correct. So وعليك ورحمة الله. Now we could see here, that is, as also you could say وعليكم ورحمة الله. When am I not allowed to say وعليك السلام ورحمة الله in the singular form? If the person who is saying the salam is one, more than one, then in that case, I'm not allowed to return with a single form. Again, so if the person on his own is saying salam to you, you return to him. وعليك السلام ورحمة الله, وعليك ورحمة الله, or عليك السلام ورحمة الله, and then the plural. وعليك, so you make it 6 now. Multiply by 2. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله, عليكم السلام ورحمة الله, وعليكم ورحمة الله. All of that is as well permissible. So we got plural, and here, have you noticed we're taking the salam away from? Because you said وعليكم, because he said the salam عليكم. So I'm returning his, and adding rahmatullah is to make sure that it is the rahmatullah. Had it been the Prophet didn't say it, I wouldn't say it. Because he said it, I would say it. And this is a hadith coming inshallah in a minute. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, and Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. So here, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he had returned it and plus. Now Abu Abdullah, which is Imam al-Bukhari himself, he says 13034.
1034, Abu Abdullah said,
Abu Abdullah, Abdullah, Abdullah. Now, Abu Abdullah.
Abu Abdullah said, and Qayla said, a man said, peace be upon you, Messenger of Allah. He said, and peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah.
Right, so here, Qayla, radiyallahu anha wa ardaha, she said that the man, he said, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. He said, wa alayka as-salam, in the what? Singular form. So, now, if we want to see what the scholars they said, most of the scholars they said it is an option. Our Shaykh al-Albani, he says the one which is with the plural has more of narrations, and we take with that from the Shaykh rahmatullah. So rahmatullah, he said the one which is most of the time is the what is the plural, wa alaykum. And as I said, alayka is not allowed if it is to a group of people. You could say wa alaykuma as-salam wa rahmatullah for the two, no problem. But you can't say for two or more wa alayka as-salam. You can't specify him. Now,
1035, Abu Dhar radiallahu anhu said, I came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he had finished his prayer. I was the first person who greeted him with the greeting of Islam. He said, and on you and the mercy of Allah. From where have you come? I said, from the Ghifar.
Right. This is here, Abu Dhar radiallahu anhu, he said, I came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he finished his prayer. And he said that I was the first person who had given him the Tahiyyat al-Islam. The first person to give him Tahiyyat al-Islam. And this is as well to show that the person, if he's being specified with something, then no problem to say it, as long as there is, it's not going to drag him to admiration of himself and being conceited and there's nobody like him. So if the person has done a good deed, like Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, when he said about the hadith of the sincerity, he said to Shufay ibn Mati al-Asbahi, he said to him, I heard a hadith from the Prophet of Allah, no one had heard it except for me. Now he's not boasting about himself and saying that, you see, look, all the companions didn't hear the hadith except for me. But he's specifying himself with this, not a sign of admiration as well, that in case somebody's going to doubt, you know, we want to have a support for that hadith. You don't have a support, it's only from Abu Hurairah. So Abu Hurairah was accused already, that is to say hadiths which are not true. That is why Abu Hurairah, he was saying, to emphasize. So no problem if you specify yourself as I've heard this from the Shaykh myself. I sat with the Shaykh myself. That is, as long as there is no a person who is trying to boast about it, is trying to show that he's, something, then it's no good, because it will be, create a fitna, and it will make you as well have pride, and that pride is no good, leads you to arrogance. And he said, the Prophet ﷺ, وَعَلَيْكَ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ. Again, this is another chapter, how the Radd al-Salam, how to return the salam. Then he said, where are you from? So here as well, this is a way of bringing more love between the brothers. If you, socialize, where are you from, where do you come from, what do you work, what do you do? As long as you are being inquisitive, meaning a nosy person. If you're a nosy person, it's no good. But it's just, you are from Ghifar, my father is from Ghifar, oh, my mother is from such and such. Where are you from? Ireland, oh, my father and my grandmother are from Ireland. So you start, but there are some people have mistaken taken this hadith in order to validate for themselves. That is, when they sit together as a group, they say, Min as-sunnah ta'aruf. It is from the sunnah that we introduce each other to each other, or one another to each other. So they start now, what's your name? Such and such. What's your name? Such and such, and the whole thing. That's not right to say it's from the sunnah. You could say it's okay that we want to know, the brothers here is good, but to say that everybody has to say that where he's from, and why? I could just sit with you, and sometimes if I say something bad, I don't like you to know my name, because I want you to forget about it. So, and if I said something good, yeah, it's okay. I don't want to be as well to be held that, oh, he said something good, and he'll bring me pride as well in myself. But no problem. But as I said, don't take it as a sunnah. Don't take it as it's a sunnah to sit together. We have to, before we say anything, that is to introduce one another to each other. And this is the companies, what they do. They got a badge here. So as you come in the company, the name that they want to make sure that you are the right person, come to the right place. You're not a spy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. Verily, he said, O people, we have created you from male and female, and we have made you into shu'ub, citizens, people, and qabail, and tribes, in order to know one another. For verily, the one who is the most honored in the sight of Allah is the one who's got the most piety. Verily, Allah is the most knowledgeable, the most wise. Now, question here, do we say the salam to the person who is in the prayer? We have passed by this as well before, but we need as well to make sure that you understand, because here he came Abu Dhar after, yes? The prayer. Abu Dhar, he said, I'm from Ghifar. And Ghifar, the Prophet ﷺ had said regarding the hadith, that is, they are good. And if by Ghifar had embraced Islam, Islam is in strength, because they were a mighty tribe. The person, if he's reading Quran, we said that if a person passed by him, to say to him what? Assalamu alaikum. Now we said regarding this issue, because regardless, but we do have a hadith as well, which alhamdulillah I have, when I was reading, and I thought I'd bring it to you as well. A hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, where he passed by the companions and they were reciting Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He passed this salutation. So they start the recitation and they return the salutation. And that's a hadith you grab with your teeth. And in that hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, تعاهدوا هذا الكتاب وقرأوه فوالذي نفسي بيده إنه أشد تفلتا من الإبل في العقل. That is, the book of Allah, grab onto it. Is it okay? Grab onto it, hold onto it, learn it, teach it. Don't, because it will run away from your chest. Just like the camels, they try to run away from their ties, or from the where they're tied up, when they've been held from the uql. So when they're tied up, they're trying to get out. Same thing, the Quran is trying to get out of your chest. How do you want to keep it in your chest? By what? Keep to reciting it. And I will give you the hadith as well. Remember? Can I just ask Bilal, if you just please give me some help? The hadith in Silsila Sahihah 3285. Prophet ﷺ, it's hadith Uqba ibn Abi Amir al-Juhani, he said we were sitting in the masjid, we were reciting Quran. So the Prophet ﷺ, he passed and he made salutation upon us. The Lajna, if they brought this hadith, they don't have to really say what we think and what is correct. The Lajna did not bring this hadith. The Lajna, when they answered this question, they did not bring this hadith. This hadith is Silsila Shaykh al-Albani, and this hadith would settle the matter. Because the companions were reciting Quran, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فَسَلَّمَ عَلَيْهِ. And we returned the salam, and he said, تعلموا كتاب الله لا نطق بالله تغنوا به. تغنوا به has two meanings. تغنوا به has two meanings. تغنوا means that استغنوا به عن كسب الدنيا, that is, don't seek money through it, teaching the Quran, and seek just the reward from Allah. And تغنوا به means, that is, make your voice nicer when you recite the Quran. ليس منا من لم يتغنى بالقرآن. He's not from us, the one who does not make تغني بالقرآن. So, فوالذي نفسي بيده, by the one in whose hand is Muhammad, verily he is more of running away from your chest, from the ibil, which is the camels, from the uqal, and that is when they're tight. Right, and this is actually from the fiqh of Afshu Salam. You remember? Afshu Salam. Now there is a person when he's a prayer, and I needed to bring this issue because we do have a hadith in Sunan Abi Dawud, and this hadith is discussed by Shaykh al-Albani 317, Sahihah 317. In this hadith, the hadith says, لا غرار في صلاة أو تسليم. لا غرار في صلاة أو تسليم. Imam Ahmad interpreted it in the following way, which he said that we should not say salam to the person who is praying. That is why I brought this issue. And that is why you find that some of the mashayikh in Saudi Arabia would say that you should not say salam to the one who is praying. But if he was greeted while he was praying, then he would return with the what? With the hand, with the ishara, with the hand, with the gesture, any gesture. But they say that you should not start saying the salam. This hadith is authentic. لا غرار في صلاة التسليم. But Imam Ahmad explained it in a way which he said that there is no salutation when the person who prays, because it will make him not concentrating, it will make him not really knowing how many rak'ahs he has done and all of that. But we say, first of all, now this hadith talks about the person of the Quran. The same person, you remember, had objected on the people saying salutation because he interrupted me in the Quran. The same argument can be put as well for the person reading the Quran. The Prophet of Allah said salam to those who had been reciting the Quran. Another one, which is that the Prophet, hadith Abdullah ibn Umar, that the Prophet ﷺ in the Masjid Quba, he was praying and the Ansar came to him. All of them, they said Salamu Alaikum. It's not one. All of them, they said Salamu Alaikum. And the Prophet ﷺ, he had given the gesture to return. If the salam, or to give the salam, was not recommended or disliked, it's going to disturb the person, then the Prophet of Allah would have told him, you shouldn't say salam to me because it will disturb me. And we have not one or two, many hadiths of the companions where they say salutation to each other in the prayer. So how can we interpret in this hadith, which is لا غرار في صلاة أو تسليم? Okay, we have to understand it first of all from the Arabic perspective. لا غرار, غرار means naqs, which means deficiency. Deficiency, that the prayer should not be deficient, should be complete. Should be complete in ruku' and sujood and everything. And the salam should be there's no deficiency in it. Means it's not really cut. Salam, you remember? Alaykum, just like this. That's called as well ghirar. But the word taslim can be interpreted in two ways. Because taslim in Arabic could be taslima, la ghirar fi salatin, aw taslima. or لا غرار في صلاة أو تسليم. What is the importance about it? If he said لا غرار في صلاة أو تسليم, then this is the interpretation we have just said, that there is no cutting in the prayer, should be complete, and no cutting in the salutation. But if he said taslima, that means لا غرار, there is no deficiency and there is no taslim, salutation, in the salah. Do you understand where Imam Ahmad coming from? If he said taslima, it is لا غرار, and the aw becomes referring back to the ghirar. Taslim becomes like لا غرار and taslim in the salah. It becomes, this is an Arabic beauty. لا غرار depends upon the grammar, vowel on top of the last letter. أو تسليما. So taslima becomes now is معطوفة على غرار, so there is no ghirar, no deficiency in the salah, and also there is no salutation in the salah. If it is the case, now we have to interpret it now. Is that right? Well, Imam Ahmad interpreted like this, but we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he had many people said salam to him, he never told them off. So what we can interpret on, we can interpret on that there's no salutation from the person himself who's praying to the people, whether he wants to initiate or return. Because it was at the beginning that the companions, whenever they say salutation to each other in the salah, they used to say what? Wa alaikum salam. At the beginning, the companions, whenever they are in prayer, somebody wants to say salamu alaikum, say salamu alaikum, and the person while he's praying, he just goes wa alaikum salam. So that hadith is fitting for, that is, the person who is in salah should not say salam, nor should what return the salam by kalam, by words. But he should return the salam by the gesture, because the Prophet ﷺ said so. And he done so. And the hadith, which is as well in Sunan Abi Dawood, which is in Silsila Da'if of Shaykh al-Albani. And the hadith that talks about where the Prophet ﷺ says, and it's unauthentic, and this is as well where the people, they said there is no gesture, which said that if the person was in the salah and he gave a gesture by his hand or his head, and this gesture was understood, then the salah is invalid. Do you understand that? If he had given a gesture, and that gesture was understood, it's not a gesture like, for example, coming by an accident, by something that is, for example, that is stopped to a person, then the prayer is invalid. Now this hadith is munkar, as according to our Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, he says. Why it's munkar? Because it contradicts, first of all, in the narrators wise, it's not authentic, plus it contradicts that the Prophet ﷺ, he used to pray, and Aisha, she used to come, and he used to open the door for her. And that is movement from him. Also the Prophet ﷺ returning the salutation of the companions by the gesture. This is understood that I'm in a prayer, so that's why I can't return the salutation by words. So that hadith is unauthentic. And also, if a person did a movement, okay, which is a little movement, it does not invalidate the prayer. We're not like, like the Hanafi madhab. The Hanafi madhab, if you, for example, smile in the prayer, not just your salah is invalid, even your wudu. We're not like that. And they say the three movement in the prayer will invalidate the prayer. So if you did like this in the prayer, you're finished. Your prayer is not really valid, according to them. We're not like this. We know that from Abdullah ibn Abbas, and this is authentic, in Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, that is, while he was praying, somebody said Salamu Alaikum, and he had stretched his hand towards Abdullah ibn Abbas. Abdullah ibn Abbas shook his hand. Abdullah ibn Abbas shook his hand. He did not say anything, but he shook his hand. So he shook his hand, and he returned the salah, and did not invalidate his prayer. Just to tell you that if a person did a slight movement, like for example, a kid is about to fall, you held him, no problem. It's no problem, so you could come. A woman, she's praying, a child pulled off her scarf. She should what? Run behind him and take her scarf. While he's praying, run behind him, take the scarf, put it back. Even though your hour is exposed momentarily, but it's no problem because it was out of her hand. So she bring it back and put it back. We don't tell her, go return the prayer, because if we tell her to do that, we know that some of the kids are naughty. And when the mothers are praying, they could really jump on her and take her off her scarf. So alhamdulillah, this is for her a lahaf, That she could, if she pulls the scarf away, she could put it back while she's praying. If we're going to say any movement like this is an invalidate the prayer, then it's a problem. That is why that hadith is also authentic. Now the number in Silsila al-Hadith al-Da'ifa is not with me at the moment, but this came to me in my mind now. Inshallah, with question and answers, I will try to bring the number of the hadith, which is in Silsila al-Da'ifa. In Sunan Abi Dawud, this hadith, I remember it is. Allahu musta'an. Right, now coming back to 1036. Yes?
1036, Aisha radiallahu anha said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Aish, this is Jibreel who sends you greetings. She said, I said, and peace be upon him and the mercy of Allah and his blessings. You see what I do not see. She referred to Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Right, this hadith was repeated in 827. Please can you read me the chapter title? And instead of he said Ya Aish, he said Ya Aish. Ya Aish, not Aish. Now.
Chapter 366, Hadith 827. The chapter name is the one who calls his companion and shortens or leaves out part of his name.
So because he said in Aisha, he said Ya Aish. So the Imam al-Bukhari, he brought this hadith in 2 chapters. Chapter 1, which is, that is when you call a person not with his full name. It's half of his name. Like Aisha, he called her Ya Aish, no problem. For example, somebody is called Ruwaida, Ruru. What was his name? Even Ruru sounds a bit tough and rough for the kid, Ruru, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so that is half of his name. And also he brought it, Imam al-Bukhari, underneath the chapter, that is how to return the salutation. Now this is a salutation being carried. And this is being carried by the Prophet ﷺ from Jibreel alayhi salam. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Aish, this is Jibreel. He is reading for you the salam. She said, oh you, Prophet of Allah, you see, she said, Wa alayhi salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon him and the mercy of Allah wa barakatuh. And the blessings. You see what we don't see. That means you, Prophet, you see, because it really came in a way what? She can't see him. And the Prophet ﷺ, he receives revelation in a number of ways. Number 1, dreams. We don't know how the dreams are. We don't know what the type of the dreams. Number 2, the Prophet ﷺ, he receives the revelation through the nafakha fi raw'i. And the Jibreel ﷺ would go and blow in my soul, and companions who don't see. This is the way. Nafatha fi raw'i. He blew into my heart. And this is when the companions can't see. Third way, when he comes in a human being, where companions can see. Like the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, when he came and he taught the companions the religion. What is Islam, what is Iman. The fourth way is when the Prophet ﷺ has Jibreel possessing him. And this is the most hardest one, and in which the Prophet of Allah would shiver, and even the thigh of Aisha, she was shivering, and she was even rocking because of the Prophet ﷺ having this possession, and he would be sweating even though it is what? Cold. How many ways? 4. And the fifth way is the one which is when the Prophet ﷺ was above the 7th heaven, and he had the revelation through the ascension. And the 6th way, which is that the Prophet ﷺ, he spoke to him Allah without any mediators. There's no intermediate between the Prophet ﷺ being spoken directly, like Musa alayhi salam and like Adam alayhi salam. Now, Prophet ﷺ, he had Jibreel was putting into him, and he said to him, verily, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying salam to Aisha. So this happened as well to Jibreel, to Khadija. And also from chapters back we discussed a man as well, that is, he carried a salam, he said, my father is saying salam to you. We have discussed that hadith as well. So carrying the salam from one person to another is a good thing. But as long as it is, number 1, that the one you're carrying salam to is a person who's alive. So you can't just say, for example, please can you carry my salam to Mawlana Rifa'i, who's dead. Okay? Carry my salam to Jilani, who's dead. Or, like the people say, carry my salam to whom? To the Prophet. Now, carrying my salam, and even some of the brothers, they go serious about this issue. You know, that's why you find people, they stay in front of the Prophet ﷺ's grave for a long time. Because he writes the name of the people who had given him the amana of salam. Muhammad, Ali, Ahmad, Muhammad Khan, Hussein, Ali. Say salam, Hussein Khan says salam to you, Prophet. Ahmad Khan says salam to you. Fatima, Muhammad says Khan. And he states that he wants to, you know, the list, it's about 200 people in it. And as I said to the people, tell the person, I've got only 20 kilos, brother. I can't really carry more than salam than what I'm allowed. And as well said, that the salam of yours can be carried what? Through the angels. So your salam and the salam next to the one who, next to the grave of the Prophet, they will be given to the Prophet at the same time. It's not because you are close to the Prophet of Allah, that means the Prophet of Allah will be able to hear you. No, no, no. The salam is from here, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Oh, it's already there. It's exactly the same way it's being carried, my salutation, to the Prophet of Allah, in the same way that the one who's next to the grave is being carried. It's being carried by an angel. It's not through decibels. Do you understand me? It's not, I have to go and get closer to the grave. Assalamu alaikum wa Rasulullah. It's not that, because the Prophet of Allah is in a different life. It's called barzakh life. The second issue is that when you send salam to people, which is good, as a good gesture, is that you make it, you know, something which is reasonable. So you say to the brother, you know, you're going home, say salam to everyone. Brother, how can I say salam to everyone? Because it's a man. So I'm not everyone, please brother, hang on a second. My such and such, he says salam to you. So make it what? Reasonable. Say, brother, to every person you see and every person you don't see. MashaAllah. How can I say salam to every person I see? Okay, what about the person I don't see? These people, they do it. Sallim alli bitshufu wa li ma bitshufu. Sallim alli warak wa li qudam. They say salam to the one in front of you and the one behind you. It's an Arabic word. Sallim alli warak wa qudam. And they say that, and they don't know what they're saying, because this is a man, I have to say that salam. So no problem to carry to 1, 2, 3 salam. Say, please carry my salam to the shuyukh. And you mean the shuyukh is the scholars. So I know that I said to him, such and such person, because it's a man. He's saying it to salam. And the person who returns the salam, this is the third issue, he's got an option. He says, وَعَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ وَعَلَيْهَا السَّلَامُ وَرَحْمَةُ as well, if you want to add, if you say salamu alaykum, alaykum alayhi salam, or to add وَعَلَيْكَ وَعَلَيْهِ salam. That means peace be upon you, the one who carrying, and the one who you are carrying his salutation. Do you understand that? So when somebody says to another person, such and such is saying salam to you, you say, وَعَلَيْكَ السَّلَامُ وَعَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. Peace be upon you and the one who you have carried his salam. As well, this is a return which is correct. Here, Aisha radiallahu anha, she had said, وَعَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ وَبَرَكَاتُهُ. Now,
1037, Muawiyah bin Qurra said, my father said to me, my son, when a man passes by you and says, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, in plural, do not say wa alayka salam, and on you, singular, as if you were singling that greeting out for him alone. Rather, say Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, in plural.
We, as I said, as we have discussed before, it could be in a singular and it could be in a plural. Plural is more of narrations, but you cannot return with a singular form if the person is more than one. But you could return with a plural to any, whether it's 1, 2, or many. And that's the interpretation of that. We're going to. Sorry about that. 1038. Chapter?
Chapter 475, one who does not return the greeting. 1038, Abdullah bin As-Samit said,
As-Samit.
Said, I said to Abu Dhar, radiallahu anhu, I passed by Abdurrahman bin al-Hakam, and I greeted him, and he did not answer me at all. he said, "Nephew, what harm have you suffered from that? Someone better than him answered you, the angel on his right."
An angel on his right. He said, return the salam. This is, by the way, had been authenticated as well from the Prophet ﷺ. So it's not just the athar, but it looks like that Imam Bukhari, he had brought it as well for a number of reasons. Number one is that the marfu', it is not authentic according to his conditions. Number two is that there is addition to it. Here, malakun an yamini. The Abdullah ibn Samit, which is from the era of the followers, comes to Abu Dhar and his companion. He said, I have passed by Abdul Rahman ibn al-Hakam. And this Abdul Rahman, I have passed salutation upon him, and he did not return the salutation. So he said, my dear nephew. Nephew here means nephew in Islam. Because we said, son of my brother. Always this is for somebody who's younger than you. And you call him as well uncle. What is going to be harming you? Don't worry. For verily, the ones who have returned the salam is better than him, an angel on his right. Now, I need to tell you that this hadith tells me that, number one, that this person who might find some sort of something in his heart, because the person whom you have said salam to did not return the salam, this will find a comfort for him, that at least I know that there is someone had returned the salam. So it's to comfort the person. Number two, this hadith tells me that you should not have any grudge or hatred or any malice towards your brother if he did not return the salam. Because the brother could be so preoccupied by problems. Sometimes, it is better if you repeat the salam. Prophet repeated twice and three times. Salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum. Maybe he is what? Someone else. And even you ask him, I said, salamu alaikum. He said, Wallah, brother, I didn't hear. Which is truthful. Because he might be in a problem, something had captured his mind, he's someone else, or he's not paying attention. Okay? Even if he was knowing what you said salam, but for certain reason in his heart, he doesn't want to return the salam. You've done something good. That you have started the salam. And you don't worry because another one had returned the salam for you. Number three, which is that always never have grudge in your heart and have excuses to your brother they did not return the salam. To make a mistake in the excuse, that maybe you didn't have an excuse, is better to make a mistake in the accusation. Do you understand that? To accuse him, if you make a mistake, that's a disaster, because it's accusation. But if you made a excuse, I think he didn't pay attention, you were mistaken, no problem. You were mistaken, he deliberately didn't say salam to you, it's no problem, you made a mistake in that one. But if you made a mistake in accusation, that's a problem. So make a mistake and give udhr. Udhr is an excuse. Give udhr to the person, and you should not have any grudge whatsoever towards your brother. When you say salam, you are already had started the love and the affection between you and the brother. And also you have evaded the hatred. 1039. Now.
1039, Abdullah said,
Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. When you say Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Now. And Abu Abdullah there, Al-Imam al-Bukhari. Now.
Salam, peace, is one of the names of Allah which Allah has placed on the earth, extended among you. When a man greets people and they answer him, then he has a higher degree than them because he reminds them of peace. If no one answers him, he will be answered by one who is better and more excellent.
Right, this is as well in the chapter what the person who has no response from the person who had greeted him. So you greeted someone, you had no response. Allah ibn Mas'ud, he said, Inna salam is a name from the names of Allah. Allah put it in the earth, so spread it amongst you. This hadith is authentic from the Prophet ﷺ up to here. Imam al-Bukhari brings us something which is as well to emphasize what we have, if you remember, deduced from all the hadiths before. But by the man, if he had said the salam to the people and they have returned the salam, then he has an upper edge. You remember? Regardless, even if you said Salamu Alaikum, you said Wa Alaikum Salam wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh, you have an upper edge on it. Because you gathered your own hasanat plus the hasanat of the person who had replied. So Salamu Alaikum 10. Salamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi 20. Salamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh 30. So if I said Salamu Alaikum and the person returned Wa Alaikum Salam wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh, yes, he had 30, but I had 40. 30 plus my 10. I have initiated the salam. And this as well go in with hadith Abdullah ibn Umar. Remember that كان لا يبادره أحد السلام. He does not let anybody to what? Start the salam. Abdullah ibn Umar always says Salamu Alaikum. Salamu Alaikum. So, of course, bearing in mind the etiquettes. And the etiquettes we said, the person who is walking, the person who is sitting, the person who is riding, the person who is walking, the person who is old, the person who is young. Yeah? Bearing in mind, because everybody is eager to say the salam to get the hasanat. So, but when you have this, you have to bear in mind that if this person is walking and you are sitting, even though that you know that I want to initiate the salam, but because of the etiquette, I have to hang on until he says the salam. And for me, in my hanging on, is a reward as well, because I'm applying the sunnah. So wait for him. But if you are walking and he's walking, you're equivalent, then the one who start the salam, he will have the edge. And also from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the ones who had dispute with each other, خيرهما من يبدأ السلام, the best of them, the one who starts. This khayriyya is from different angles, not just from one angle. خيرهما من يبدأ السلام, the ones who are dispute and then they meet each other, the one who has started the salam is better because he started the salam. That's number one, which is our. Also, he's the one who had broken, this war sort of truce it was between them. He had started the alhamdulillah, the love, by saying the salam, which is better. So it's better from different angles. You say wa alaikum salam. And he says that then, if nobody had returned the salam, if he did not return the salam, then there's something better. خير من, better than him, which is the angel, wa atyab. And also atyab because the salam of his is a salam of a sinless creature, because the angels, they don't sin. And the angel who had said the salam, malakun an yaminih, as according to the text which was before. Right. Now,
1040. Al-Hasan said, greeting is tatawu, a voluntary act, while the answer is farida.
Doctor, you're making me sleep. The way you're reading, it's not really good enough. Yeah.
Al-Hasan said,
Al-Hasan al-Basri. Now,
greeting is tatawu, a voluntary act, while the answer is farida, a duty.
Right. We say that we don't agree with Al-Hasan al-Basri. Why? Because we said from the 6 obligations of a Muslim towards a Muslim is, if he meets him, to say what? Salam. So, Hasan al-Basri, by the way, is from the followers. He's not a companion. And even the companion makes mistakes. So how about the follower? Taslim tatawwu'. As we say, that is no. It is not tatawwu', it is fard. But the return is more fard. And a fard is consensus between all the scholars. Not a single scholar from the scholars that we consider to be scholars, they said that rad is tatawwu'. So all of them, they said what? It is faridah. So the salam, to initiate the salam is more of a compulsion than it is a voluntary. And we have lots of hadith regarding this issue. And the following chapter emphasizes the fact, which is chapter 476, Bab man bakhila bis-salam, the one who's stingy. And stingy is no good. So this is the chapter following it to tell us that it is actually compulsory to initiate the salam. As for the return of the salam, as I said, it's in the ayah, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ. If you have been greeted with a tahiyya, then فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا. Return with a better one. That's فَحَيُّوا is a command. Now,
chapter 476, one who is miserly with the greeting.
Okay, the first one is life. 1042.
1042, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the most miserly of the people is the one who is miserly with the greeting. The most incapable of people is the one who is incapable of supplication.
And the first part of it is from the Prophet ﷺ. This is as well sahih from the Prophet ﷺ, which is, that is, the person who is stingiest is the one who is stingy with his salam. You see, how is he stingy with his salam? It's only, for example, stingy if he only makes salam as well to the ones whom they know. And this is from the signs of the day of resurrection. Signs of the day of resurrection, that you only make salam to the one whom you know. You see, if you know him, you say salam to him. If you don't know him, say salam. You don't say salam. This is a sign of the day of resurrection. The resurrection getting closer. And we're seeing this a lot. And remember, Abdullah ibn Umar used to go to the market and say salam to the ones, everyone. Trader, not trader, selling, buying. And the guy was in, why do you go to that and you don't want to buy and sell? He said, yeah, Adab Al Mufrad, remember? The one with the belly. Sticking belly. We go there to make salam. That's why we go to them, just to return the salam, to make the salam. And as I said here, you go to the market as long you go to the market which is no fitna. So maybe going to the market in the morning or late in the midnight, maybe. But he said, oh, the brother's hanging out in the market. Why, brother? Because I want to say salam, return salam. Brother, well, if, these markets these days, especially in this weather, there are lots of fitna. You understand what I'm saying? And did I emphasize this before as well? Be careful. So it's only as long as fitna. There's no fitna there. In the markets of the times of Islam, they were, so modest, and people are not naked like this these days. So, alhamdulillah, come to the masajid, will give you a lot of salam, inshallah. أبخل الناس الذي يبخل به. Wallahi, the person who is stingy is the one who is stingy with words. You could be stingy all the time with the money, with the property, with lending. But even with the words to say Salamu Alaikum, what a stingy person you are. What a miser you are. Just the salam doesn't come out of you. Subhanallah. Prophet ﷺ gave us lots of reward regarding the salam. 10 hasan Assalamu Alaikum. If I said to you 10 pounds, I'm sure you're going to say Salamu Alaikum. Salamu Alaikum, 20 pounds? Oh, no way. Believe me. Not a single person you're going to say Salamu Alaikum. 10 pounds. But 10 hasan, huh?
10 salam.
He will give 10 salam. In case you don't hear it. Salamu Alaikum, salam, 10 pounds. But 10 hasan is better than the 10 pounds. And then, as I said, it depends upon how much iman in your heart to believe that the hasanat is better than the pounds. The pounds, you're not going to get nothing with that on the day of resurrection. There is no currency there. It's only hasanat. The currency is hasanat and sayyat. That's the currency there. There is no currency to change into what? Pounds. There's no pounds. So if somebody you done something wrong to him, or you taken his money, so on the day of resurrection, brother, I can give you whatever you like. No, brother. There's no sterlings there. There's nothing. There's no dollars. It's either hasanat, give me from your hasanat. And then you'll be thinking, oh, if I got a bag of hasanat, oh, I didn't miss, salamu alaikum, look how many salams I missed. Which one sent it? Then you will remember yourself, oh, I should have done salam alaikum, salam. 10. So you could have a person, no problem, God, mashallah, treasure of hasanat. You could take whatever you like, because you've got so many salams. But if you're stingy in the salam, what's going to happen to you? You don't have hasanat? Okay, take from my sayyat. Put it on top of you. Take from my sins. I'm not going to let you go. Brother, you know me? No. On the day of resurrection, I don't know you. Only know you later on. But in the hisab, I don't know you. I want from you, regardless who you are and how close you are, I want from you. أبخل الناس الذي يبخل بالسلام وإن أعجز الناس من عجز بالدعاء, and the ones who is the most incapable, and the one who is incapable is a word as well, and he is like he can't do nothing, basically. He can do nothing. He's the one who is incapable of making the dua. The dua is asking Allah. The other one is asking with you, Salamu Alaikum. This one is with you, with Allah Azza wa Jal. If you know that all the goods lie with Allah, then the dua is the muftah, the key of the good. So the key for the good is your dua. So if I know whatever I'm gonna want to have from the good is with the hands of Allah. If it is the case, then I ask Allah. So what is the key for the good? مفتاح الخير ومفتاح كل خير. Every good, the key of it is to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in times where you are in need. Some people, they forget the dua, they leave it the last thing. Dua, wallahi, it's a weapon with you. People are unaware of it, how strong it is. No. Somebody's putting this one, which might, I don't know. So I'll have someone. Right. One. There's still.
477, the greeting.
Forgive us being itchy. He's being itchy because of scared.
The greeting to children.
No.
1043, Thabit al-Bunani said, Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu walked past some children and greeted them. Then he said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do that with them, which is greeting children.
Wallahi, this is subhanallah. If I want to, subhanallah, go to the scholars, what they have gained from this. As-salamu ala as-sabiyah. That he had passed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Anas, he said that he passed by the children and he made salam to them. And he said the Prophet ﷺ used to do it. And we had a hadith similar that the Prophet of Allah, whenever he passes by the children, he would say Salamu Alaikum. Now first of all, let's just understand that we had a chapter before, Salamu As-Saghir Al-Kabir. So here, Salamu Kabir Al-Saghir. How can we reconcile? Do you understand that? Before, who initiated the salam? The younger. To the older. Now here, who is the one saying salam? The older. How can we reconcile? Oh, Allah Bilal. Good, to teach. What happened? Sit down. Yes, uncle? You want to say something? I was scratching the beard. Yes? Children group. Right. Well, basically, the children are of two types. Children who knows to say salam, and children who do not say salam, don't know to say salam. So if they're children very, very young, it's good to say salam to them, because they don't understand these etiquettes of the person who's a child to say salam to the elders. But let's say, for example, he's a child, Abdullah, and how old are you? 14, still a child. No, almost. So that one, he would start the salam with me. But maybe this one, younger than him, that one, mashallah, or little even, there was a little one. There's a little one, isn't it? That one? Where is he? Is the youngest one, yeah? MashaAllah. So maybe, well, these one, MashaAllah, became now students of knowledge. But maybe the younger ones who do not know, you say salam to them. So that's a reconciliation, and also, like he said, to teach. Teaching. From this, number one, we learn that to humble. That's hadith. Because when you say salam to the kids, you're humbling yourself. Number two, you're putting love into the hearts of the children towards you. As not you as in particular, you as a sheikh, you as a beard, you as a person representing deen. So when the children look at you, you are the sheikh and you are the person with the beard, they love you. And that would make them to as well, to inspire them later on to imitate you, to be like you. So when you say something, so the humbleness, number two. Number three as well, that you...
Obligation as well. Huh? Obligation.
شو الابليكيشن ما فهم
واجب
لا مش obligation مش obligation. Number three is that the person, he will as well make these children to learn, because this is teaching, to say the salam. So number one, we said that is humbleness. Number two is the love you bring from the children to you. Number three is that to teach them as well, because they're taking your example, they will learn to say the salam. From that as well, the etiquette that we have learned is to put the hands on the head. If you remember that, to touch the head of the child as well, that's good. So touching the head of the child gives him as well the warmth. Assalamu alaikum, for his hand, mashallah. And the Prophet Allah, he did with whom? Ja'far's, mashallah, children. He did with Ja'far's children. radiallahu anil jamia. Coming to Hadith 1044.
1044, Anbasa said, I saw Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma greet children in the schools.
I have said, he said, I have, that is his son of Ammar, he said, I have seen Abdullah ibn Umar, he is praying children in the schools, al-Kuttab. And this is the same thing as the one before. And they have been following the Prophet ﷺ. It shows us the humbleness of the companions, like the humbleness of the Prophet of Allah, the humbleness of Anas radiallahu anhu warḍah, the importance of the salutation as well. Now,
Chapter 478, Women Greeting Men.
okay, we stop here. So all of that we said only, how many of them unfiltered? Two.
No. One.
Two. So you said too many first, I don't know why. Khair inshallah. Now, giving the salam while the person is in khutbah is not allowed. So the person who's in the khutbah, when he should come, because the khatib is not allowed. The reason behind this, that the Prophet ﷺ even forbade, which is more than or important than the salutation. That is enjoining good and forbidding evil. So you come and you sit as quietly as possible. If everybody said salam as soon as he comes, and how many people were late? Oh, so many people were late. And the khatib will stop his khutbah and he said, we'll just wait until these people come in, because they will interrupt him. And if you have been greeted by someone, you should give a gesture like this, quiet, to tell him. Okay? So no salutation and no return of the salutation. So you could just say to him, wa alaikum salam, like this, gesture, and then coupled with that, quiet. You should not really say the salam. Because the Prophet of Allah, he said, he who says to his brother, quiet, and he was talking, he had made lahu. So this is enjoining good and forbidding evil. And this is compulsory, as we know. But in this case, we're not allowed to do it with talking, we're allowed to do it with gesture. And also we have Hadith Ubay ibn Ka'ab with Abi Dharr radiallahu anhu warḍah, whom he had asked him about the surah of Tawbah. Very good. When was it revealed? And the person who had obeyed, he did not give him an answer, but he gave him a frown face, asked him 3 times until after the Prophet ﷺ is about to finish, and he's about to make he descended the pulpit to make the prayer. He said, you did not make the prayer with us. You haven't really came with us to the prayer. And that is, after the Jumu'ah he had finished. And that's when he said, he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, verily, Ubay ibn Ka'ab said the truth, he is correct. You have to obey Ubay ibn Ka'ab. That is, you should not have said anything, you shouldn't ask a question, even though it is an important question. Now, and also with the story, if you remember, story of Abu Ubayd al-Qasim ibn Sallam, whom this person who slept next to him and he had broke wind. Remember that? So when you're broken wind, and breaking wind, for the person, that means that he's not on wudu and he's going to be doing his prayer. He did not tell him while he was praying, while he was in the khutbah, to go and make wudu. Even though it's enjoining good and forbidding evil, it's after the khutbah was finished and before the prayer, he told him make wudu. And you remember the story. So what did he say to him? He was sitting down on my buttocks and I don't release wind. So he said to him, no, I smelt it and I heard it. So he said, it must have been you. And that's why he said, I changed my fatwa. Before I used to say the person who sits on his buttocks, that if he sleeps, there's nothing wrong with him. Until I have heard it, I smelt it with this guy, that he was sitting the same thing, and he had released wind. It shows us that there's a deep sleep. When you are in deep sleep, you don't know what is happening. What time is it? 23. Right, uncle?
Two questions, Sheikh. I've heard people saying, to Salam Alaikum, Salam Rahmatullahi Barakatuh, wa Maghfirah.
No.
They add Maghfirah.
We have spoken about this, inshallah. We said this is authentic. That is when the person returning the salutation, not when he is initiating the salutation. So, yes, correct. Second question.
Second one, in Ayatul Kursi, there is
ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. نعم. وسع كرسيه السماوات. وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض. نعم. And the heavens and the earth. Kursi is the kursi, uncle. We don't have a description of it except for the kursi described by Abdullah ibn Abbas to be the stool. The stool, the stool, which is for the stool before the throne. And he said even the position of the feet. The stool, it means the position of the feet. موضع القدمين. But we don't have any description apart from that the kursi, as the Prophet ﷺ, he said in terms of size-wise, that the kursi, in terms of comparison to the heavens and earth, is bigger than the heavens and earth, just like a ring being thrown into the desert. That's the comparison. That is the whole earth and the whole heavens, comparison to the stool, the kursi, is like a ring thrown in the desert. Can you find the ring? There's nothing. And also the stool, that is the kursi, towards the throne in terms of comparison. That is, the throne is so big, bigger than the stool, the kursi, just like as well a ring being thrown in the desert. So that is all of it creation of Allah. So وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلِ الْأَعْلَى. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of all of that. But we don't have any more than that description of Allah ibn Abbas. A kursi. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ. So kursi have encompassed the heavens and earth, but in terms of size, it's nothing. Because all the heavens and all the earth is nothing. Let me tell you something. The scale that the deeds of the people will be weighed is bigger than the heavens and the earth. The scale where your deeds are going to be weighed in is bigger than the heavens and the earth. Because in the hadith, when the scale was brought down, the angels was so baffled with the size of it. And that's why they said to the Lord, to whom is this scale for? So the angels, they have seen that throne. They have seen the kursi. But when they see the scale, they was baffled with it. It's not bigger than the throne. But we don't know if it's as size as the kursi, bigger than the kursi. Allahu A'lam. It's big. Because he said, if the whole heavens and earth to be put into one pan, the pan will take it. One pan, not the whole scale, one pan of it. It will take the heavens and earth in it. That's the scale. So how about the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the biggest, as in the hadith, biggest creation of the Almighty Azza wa Jalla. Tfaddal ya Afan.
When you visit the grave, can you specify someone in the grave that Assalamu alaikum, so like example,
No, not salam, you can't specify to one person. Salam is to all the graveyard. You could specify your dua to a person after as well. You have to finish the dua for the person. You make the dua to the general Muslims. I mean, I wouldn't say a Muslim exists and he would never say, oh Allah, give triumph to the Muslim. That means there's something wrong with him, his heart. So in his dua, while he is specifying his person who wants to visit, he remembers that he has to as well to include the Muslims in that dua as well. So specifying a person with dua, yes, but specifying the salam, no. Salam is to be assalamu alaikum, ahla diyar, all the people, inhabitants of Islam. In al-mu'mineen wal-muslimin, whether you are high in iman or in salam. Somebody else has to be. Nah. I don't think this habit exists in this masjid whatsoever. So there is alhamdulillah immunity in the brothers to do such an action. If somebody had done it, actually they would be saying this is something, even they don't know it's a bid'ah, but they will say this has never seen it before. And I don't know if these masajid they do it in your area here, because I haven't seen it as a phenomenon like in our countries. In other countries is different. But I haven't seen it in the masajid of the Darandis. I haven't seen it. So I wouldn't say that, alhamdulillah, it's a disease which is spreading. What that is to say salam and shake the hands of the people. In my country, I remember that the person gets up and he says salam to the whole row. Salam, salam, salam. Shake the hands. And,
Not anymore.
yes, dying. He's dying, but he was. Initially, he was dying, alhamdulillah. This is before when the old people was in control. Now, with respect to your uncle, but I'm just saying, they were not really learned people, and they were as well jahil, and they were controlling the masajid. But now the younger one, learned, mashallah, they have killed all these bid'ah, alhamdulillah. I think that is one, inshallah. Before we do the prayer, I've been requested to talk about this issue, which I have myself as well come across. In the schools or the children's these days, we find that some of our children are involved in a game which they think it's a game, and it's actually from the magic. Or if it's not attributed to magic, it's attributed to haram anyway, which is the drawing of some squares, and they put in yes and no, and then they put a pencil and they start flicking the pencil to rotate, and then they'll ask questions, and depending upon the question they say yes or no. That's a Ouija board. This is a Ouija board, and this is where they believe that the jinn, he moves that pencil, but now the children are rotating the pencil. And there was a brother, he is telling me that there was a girl in a local school, she had been affected by such thing, affected as a mental, maybe because of the sihr and the magic. Whether it's affected or not is beside the point. This is a game which is haram. I've been asked about this game a week ago, and even somebody had explained it to me, and I would say that this game is not allowed for your children. Please make sure your children are not involved in this game. Somebody's asking me, what should we do? Should we take our children from the school? I think the schools in general, they respect the requests of their parents. So their parents make sure that their children, they don't involve, for example, in music lessons, into, for example, swimming pools where there are men and women and girls and boys and mix them up. Also, those games which are involved, you could really make sure that you draw the line there. And also the Ramadan coming, some of the schools will not allow the children to fast as well. So you could go to the school as well and tell them that this is my child, he wants to fast by himself. I'm not forcing him, but he wants to fast. They can't break the fast of the child. He wants to do that. They can't open the mouth of the child and put something in there. But they might prevent you from telling your child to fast. Okay? That's by the law. But the law does not tell the child that you have to eat by yourself. So if the child wants to fast, and I would say that he should fast, hide his fast, not to tell everybody that fasting as a child. He might bring attention to himself. And inshallah, by this we conclude our class. Jazakumullahu khair.